Heartbeat works here. Shut up, everybody. Shut up, shut up. Hold on. Okay. So, according to Arthur of the Library of O'Hara, shout out to Arthur, but apparently, due to some Vivicar reveals, Queen of the Beast Pirates just might be Cuddy Flams, also known as Franky's daddy. He is the father. Oh man, bruh. Oh boy. And then shout out to D. Simmons, also on Twitter, because I'm getting all this on Twitter, because they showed that Franky in the volume cover of 39 is in the same exact pose with the same exact framing as Queen is in volume cover 93. 39, 93. You know how Oda loves to play around with numbers. Bruh, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because I'm going to tell you something. Way back when, and I think this was just floating around. I don't know if I discovered this or if it was just a thing that became common knowledge when the chapter came out. But when the Mads cover story started, a lot of people made the connection to the Mad ship being the same exact ship that Franky finds once he's run over by the sea train, and he uses the parts on that ship to rebuild himself into a cyborg. So with that information being more and more true by the day, this isn't a big surprise, especially when you consider he's been tailing Mads and by extension Vegapunk for the majority of his time in the story because, of course, you know, Kuma sent him to Baltimore. He went to Vegapunk's old lab and then rebuilt himself again via what he found in Vegapunk's lab. So I'm not actually shocked by what's going on here. And then we've got Queen and all his transformation stuff. Franky has a bunch of transformation stuff, and he's like the only cyborg in the series other than Queen who does transform to like a large extent because both BF36 and BF37 have transformation states. BF36 has the centaur form. BF37 has the whole tank thing. So I don't know. Then too, it's also weird that on Egghead, the Hawaiian shirt is a thing that you can get from the Fabro phase, the clothes making machine or whatever. And then Franky's default outfit in both the pre-time skip and the post-time skip was a Hawaiian shirt. So to that, I'm like, I don't know, bro. It's very interesting. What's also very interesting, and I've touched upon this with Franky in relation to York, it's very interesting that even though it's mostly for the women, that panties are a default outfit too on Egghead, and Franky is known for wearing Speedos all the time. And then in terms of personality, Queen and Franky are very, very much alike. I don't know, bro. It's very interesting when you start to think about it. So that means the mom was the blue-haired one, apparently. And then here's another interesting part when you talk about hair. Both of their hairs are modified because that's a weapon for Queen once he's in his hybrid state. And now with Franky, both in the pre-time skip and the post-time skip, that has been a part of his personality and power set, you could say, because in the pre-time skip, that was an indicator of how much cola was in his body. And then the post-time skip, that has been turned into a bit of a gag as you can press his nose in and his hair just transforms to a bunch of different shapes. So I don't know. It's interesting to think about. It really is. And then too, the buckles on Queen's overalls look like 8s. And in some ways, even though I wouldn't really consider this as his official count, but you could consider Franky the 8th person on the crew as it's been displayed in some of these color spreads when they're depicted as children. So there's a lot. Another very interesting thing to consider, and I didn't even think about this until now, but Franky's animal is the rhino, right? So think about General Franky. What are the 2 vehicles that make up General Franky? The black rhino, FRU4, and the Brachio Tank 5. Let me remind you that Queen has what devil fruit? He has the dragon fruit model Brachiosaurus. That's very interesting that the Brachiosaurus tank and the Rhino bike come together to make General Franky, a vehicle representing Franky's animal and a vehicle representing Queen's animal together to make one entity in General Franky. Something to consider, because that animal theming honestly comes out of nowhere. So that's just something to keep in mind. What's also very interesting about Wano, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe Franky has ever met Queen. Additionally, Franky never meets Judge, as he is not on the whole cake mission. Caesar's the only one who's ever even met Franky, aside from Vegapunk himself, out of the collection of Mads. And then, of course, we have Stussy, but of course, the Stussy that's met Franky is the clone and not the original Stussy, which is Buckingham Stussy. And even when that being said, it's not really apparent that Queen would talk about his family in any great detail. And on top of that, we don't even know what Queen's name is, because out of the calamities, only King got a name drop. And of course, you know his name is Albert. But Jack and Queen don't have name drops. We don't know what their actual names are. So that's been left up to interpretation. It would also be very funny that I guess most of the members of Mads are weird and or just bad parents. I guess Bucking is the only good one, but then again, is she that good when she has a kind of estranged daughter out there who's an assassin? I don't know if you can consider that good parenting, but yeah, that's weird. I'll have more news on this as it comes out. This new Vivicar pack is set to be very interesting, apparently. But with that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede Woods.